What is up, YouTube? I'm over here reading. I said, I didn't even do my intro. What is up? How y'all doing? Yeah. And they like that part, man. Hey, check it out, man. Real talk. I guess they just calling him the Jonathan Hay is his name. I think that's his name. I'm looking at other things. Industry publicist. Risk it all exposing Drake, Jay-Z, and Diddy. This guy, Jaguar Wright, been talking positive and stuff, and all that stuff. And man, this anyway. Everybody want to help. I asked you to do one thing. You halfway do that and do all this extra stuff that I didn't ask you to do. And also, excuse me, y'all. So somebody on my team, when you come into these computers, put stuff back where they changed my desktop around and stuff. Put it, if you don't like the desktop the way I have it, at least when you leave, put it back the way you had it. Y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Let's check this bad boy out. Thumbs up, man. Here we go, man. This is crazy.
Has been a very interesting year for the music industry. For whatever reason, this has been the year that people in the industry have chosen to come out and speak out. An industry that once protected its secrets like the mob is now facing an epidemic of insiders exposing their secrets. Finally, the world is seeing the truth about the music industry, and it's nothing like they expected. The industry is a strange, dark place, and after what this industry insider told me directly in this interview, it only further confirms that. Hey guys, I hope all is well. Welcome back to The Truth Is, where I drop new videos every other day exposing the truth. In today's episode, I will be interviewing the music industry publicist and producer, Jonathan Hay. In this explosive interview, Jonathan exposes industry secrets about people like Drake, Jay-Z, DJ Khaled, and many others. Trust me when I tell you, you're gonna want to watch this video to the very end. Now, let's get right into it. Before we get into this interview, I wanted to explain how this interview came together and who exactly Jonathan Hay is. Jonathan Hay is a music industry publicist and producer who got his start in the music industry in the late 90s, working with a rock group called Days of the New. From there, he was able to meet and work with Kevin Skinner, who introduced him to Whitney Houston's father. Whitney's father would end up connecting Jonathan with Whitney herself, which helped Jonathan's publicist career even further. From here, he was introduced to a brand new industry rising star at the time, Rihanna. He was the lead publicist working on Rihanna's first single, Pon de Replay. Jonathan only kept on climbing from here, as he would end up working with many more artists, becoming a very successful publicist in the industry. He ended up working with artists like Drake, Michael Jackson's estate, and even Biggie's son, plus many more. Things were going great for Jonathan in the industry until he started working with Drake and his baby mother, Sophia. This is actually what led Jonathan to contact me. See, a couple of days back, Jonathan sent me an email asking me to look into his story. He had recently done an interview with Jaguar Wright on the Real Life Production channel, where Jaguar told him some very alarming information. See, back in 2017, while Jonathan was working with Drake's baby mother, Sophia, something traumatic ended up happening to him that changed his life forever. He, for whatever reason, was targeted in a home invasion attack, where he and his 14-year-old daughter were tied up, robbed, and threatened in their own home. At this moment, Jonathan had prayed to God to get him out of the situation, something that thankfully happened. Eventually, some of the people responsible for this crime ended up going to prison after police were able to catch them. But one person who Jonathan believed was a mastermind in the whole crime managed to escape prison even after sufficient evidence was brought up against them. This woman was allegedly his ex-fiancée of 9 years. She was allegedly able to get away with her role in the crimes because someone behind the scenes was paying for her high-powered lawyers and had connections to people in high places. For years, Jonathan wondered who was behind helping his ex evade prison. This is a question that he might have gotten the answer to during a recent interview with Jaguar Wright, as she told him she believes Drake was allegedly behind setting him up. This made Jonathan Hay rethink the entire situation and start connecting the dots, realizing this all took place during the time he was working with Drake's fling, Sophia, who was pregnant with Drake's baby at the time. Also, this was right around the time Pusha T exposed Drake for hiding his relationship and child with Sophia. Drake ended up under the impression that because Sophia had been working with Jonathan, that she had told him about the pregnancy, something that Jonathan seems to confirm when he told People magazine, "I've seen the text messages and they do exist," in reference to conversations between Drake and Sophia, where Drake allegedly instructed Sophia to get rid of the baby. Pair this with Jonathan's close connection to good music artist and Kanye West ghostwriter Sci-Hi the Prince. Drake thought for sure Jonathan was who gave Pusha T the info about Drake hiding a baby. Because of this, it seems that Drake might have allegedly wanted to retaliate against Jonathan. And according to Jaguar Wright, it could have been the real reason behind Hayes' traumatic home invasion. Now, I looked into Jonathan to confirm his story and involvement in the music industry, and everything he states seems to check out, as I was able to trace his Publicist career in the business. Ever since Hay experienced the situation in the industry, he started to drift away from it until he finally decided to risk it all and speak out about what he saw and experienced in the industry. Hay agreed to an interview with me to talk about not only Drake, but many other names as well, telling me industry secrets we're not supposed to hear about. He goes deep and doesn't shy away from any of my questions. But before we get into this interview, if any of you want to watch the uncensored longer version of this interview, it will be available for free on Patreon. All you have to do is become a free member on Patreon and you can see the longer uncut version of this interview. Now, without further ado, let's get right into it. He was interrogated and this is literally what he said. He
this
said
thing is long,
no, not Jay-Z.
and I'm going to eat.
Rick Ross and DJ Khaled. He said they're all gay, and he said that they're all a part of the Bole Masonic organization.
What I do know for a fact, not alleged, but DJ Khaled is bisexual, and Jay-Z has also participated in bisexual activities.
Would you want to say allegedly for your safety?
There's no, I would say allegedly if it was allegedly. DJ Khaled, 100% has been involved in, he's bisexual.
I can believe that.
Hey, what's up, Jonathan? How you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I can believe that.
I want to start this interview by saying I appreciate you reaching out and allowing me to tell this story and basically give you an opportunity to tell your story on my platform as well. I believe the truth is always important to get out there, and you have a very important story to tell. So my first question to you, basically, I just want you to introduce yourself, tell the audience who you are, how did you get in the industry, a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for having me. It's truly an honor. I've looked at your stuff and I definitely felt like it's the right fit for me to speak with you. So that's why we're here. But my name is Jonathan Hay. I'm a publicist. I don't know really how I fell into the world of publicity, but it started back home in Louisville, Kentucky. Kind of got like a lucky break because I never dreamed of being a publicist. Didn't even know what it was when I started. I was more into like producing music and making tracks, and my career became as a publicist, and that's where I made a lot of money. I was very successful. I keep talking in past tense because it's like two different lives that I have now, like the publicist when I started versus the publicity that I'm doing now. But so from Louisville, Kentucky, a small town, it was a big deal to accomplish what I have accomplished, especially without really the strength of the internet and social media and being able to talk like this, just going, hitting the streets, going out to LA, going to New York, taking meetings and basically clawing my way to the top. But then once I clawed my way to the top, I was like, this is pretty weird. And a lot of traumatic things happened. And it's been a very strange, both blessed and both cursed career, right? Because I come from a very strong Christian family.
Yeah, I saw that when I was looking into you.
Yeah, my family was like, they started Southeast Christian Church. They were one of my uncle was a founding elder of Southeast Christian Church. They're now a mega church in Louisville. So I remember when it was like a couple hundred people to now 30, 40,000 people every Sunday. So I watched the business of the church, which back in the day I struggled with because I was like, it seems like we're selling Jesus. It seems like we're selling God. And because I was rebellious, right? So, and when you're younger, you question everything. So it kind of turned me off for a little bit, because when my family would get together with like my grandfather, my uncles, and people of the church, it seems like the biggest conversation was attendance and offering. And that was a turnoff. But now, then as I got older, I realized to have a church of that magnitude, they had to have infrastructure in place. They had to have the building in place. They had to have the insurance. They had to have the security. They had to have the team to support as many people as they did. So then I started to understand the business of it. And the thing about that church is there's never been any scandals. There's never been anything that you've ever heard wrong of people coming out and speaking against Southeast Christian Church. So I'm very proud to be raised in such a church, you know? So that's where I'm at with that.
Of course.
Sorry to divert.
No problem. Before we get into, the deeper aspects of your life and, your relationship with God and
basically no TDJ crap. That's what he's trying to say.
all that, because I have some questions with that as well. I want to know, just for the audience sake, as a publicist, what did you do? Who did you work with? What were the things that you were instructed to do? What does a publicist do, for those that don't know?
So the publicist is different now, but when I started off to be a publicist, you were, to court media. You were set out to, send the press releases, deal with the fans a lot, especially you go on tour and you would deal with like, when I would go on tour with an artist and I'm the publicist, I would be usually the one that would go in first, because radio was usually there, local media was there. So I would coordinate like all the different obstacles that would come to speak to the artist, to set up the band, to set up, I'll just say band instead of artist, set up the band and make sure all that goes off in a without a hitch, in a comfortable surrounding. Right. So that was like the main thing that I would do. And I would deal with the media. There wasn't social media involved. Right. So you were dealing with publications, and stories were a lot more relevant for like stories would be relevant for like a month until the next magazine came out, where stories nowadays, as you know, are relevant for a day,
Yeah, seconds, minutes.
Minutes. So it's like we had a whole month, and we had a few channels, we had a few stations. So it was a lot harder to get media out there. And then I would also handle crisis management, damage control, anything that could go wrong. It's like contact the publicist. I was like the go-between between the artist and the label, and just like a lot of BS probably, it was like, and I would have to fall on swords. I would have to like do the most. Nowadays, publicist is kind of, with social media being around, people can contact the artist directly. People can contact the celebrity directly, the brand directly. So there's not really, the publicists aren't doing as much as they used to. And they've had to adapt, and they've had to pivot. So like some of the publicists that I grew up with, they're really, really struggling right now, because everybody wants the influencers, the podcast, the playlist, everything else is not the same. The media's changed. But as far as I've worked with, I came in the business with a rock and roll group called Days of the New. We sold 3 million records. We were signed to Geffen and Interscope. And just like in 2000, I think 2001 or 2002, the song from that group was named the #1 mainstream rock group of all time by Billboard, which was an honor. So after that happened, like I was out there and we had sold that many records, a song being 17 weeks #1. While I was on tour, I met this guy named Kevin Skinner. We were in New York, this guy named Kevin Skinner, and he introduced me to Whitney Houston's father. And then I started working with Whitney Houston's father, which was crazy because it allowed me to work with his daughter, Whitney Houston, who then introduced me to the Rihanna project. And then Rihanna's Pon de Replay blows up, and then it's like off to the racehorses. So then like my career was, born. I was working with Teddy Riley and Michael Jackson after his passing, not like during his passing,
Okay.
like working on an album, But a lot of people think like people like Michael Jackson and people like Whitney Houston, it's like, you're never really dealing with the artist direct. You're dealing with the label and the team. It's like, like when you go to Walmart, you wouldn't really run into Sam Walton, the founder of it. So you have all these moving parts, and that's especially the way it was back in the day. So the artists were very shielded, or you could look at it, the labels were more in control, right? Nowadays, nowadays the kids have really got it right as far as the way they're handling their content with media and social media. They're very in charge. Because back in the day, the infrastructure was set up where the artists were kind of left out of everything. That's why publishing wasn't paid. It was very shady.
So essentially, you got in the industry by chance as a publicist, and basically what a publicist would do is you were the storyteller, you and the problem solver. If like you said, if there was a crisis, you would be on the PR side trying to make that situation appear better than what it is, or trying to make people forget. If a new artist came out and you had to create an article for them and get it heard by the biggest or reported on by bigger sites, that was what you basically did, correct?
Correct. And the problem be sometimes I would create the narrative and then I have to go back and damage control my own narrative. It was crazy.
We're going to talk about that.
I was like both sides. Yeah. It was like, and now I'm doing crisis management for the narrative that I started. That was when it got pretty weird, So, but yeah, you said it exactly right. You said it much better than I did.
No, at the beginning of this, you said that it's like two different versions of you. The version of you that was in the industry and the version of you today. What was it that led you to basically leave the industry, if that's what you did, or not work in the same amount?
Well, I never left the industry. I just kind of unplugged, from the matrix, so to speak. But I was in a home invasion in 2017 and I was duct taped. I was pistol whooped.
Yeah, we're going to definitely get into that. I want you to tell that entire story for sure.
Yeah. And that was what changed everything for me.
Okay.
That's what really
So let's get right into that.
Okay.
The reason you reached out to me was because of this home invasion that
Correct.
happened to you and your daughter. It basically is what you said. Can you break that story down?
Yeah. So in April 20th, 2017, my daughter and we were going back to my apartment in Louisville, Kentucky. And I had just moved there because I'd went through a breakup of 9 years. And my daughter was coming back to me because she was looking for something that I didn't have, something of hers, right? It's just because she would help move. I forgot what it was exactly that she was looking for, but it was after midnight and we were coming into my door, and I was unlocking the door with the keys, and I felt her push me on the side to hurry, but I saw something running at me in the corner of my eyes, and at that point it was too late. It was two masked men, were pistol whipped from behind. And I was pushed into the door and she fell over top of me. And at first I was so startled because I didn't know, at first I really thought it was like my stepdad playing a joke or some kind of weird prank, that because I had my daughter out so late and we were coming home, but then it got real quick within seconds. And so they pushed me into a chair and they duct taped me where I couldn't see anything and all I could do was hear. And while I was in the chair, they kept looking for a safe with cash that I didn't have anymore. And my daughter, I didn't know if she was duct taped or not. I found out afterwards, like in the interrogations with the police, that she wasn't duct taped because I couldn't see her. I just figured that she was. So for 2 hours, they would put like guns to my head, almost like Russian roulette. And I thought for sure at any time I was going to die. It was very traumatic. Once again, I didn't learn until reading the case files and interrogations with my daughter that she wasn't duct taped, but the guy who kept putting the gun to my head and he would pull the trigger and I'd feel like the pressure, against my head. He had disarmed, he had taken the bullet out and said to her, whisper, like he doesn't know it's here. So at any moment I was just bracing for myself, to be killed. And that went on for 2 hours. They left. They didn't find the safe. They took my debit cards because I told them if they took my debit cards, I gave my PIN number. If they came back the next day, I would give them the cash that they were looking for because it was in a safe that was at my parents' house. And that was all the truth because I had went through the traumatic breakup. I had moved. I went to Florida to see my other child. And instead of leaving the safe in my apartment with a lot of cash in it, I did leave it at my parents' house. So I was just trying to get my daughter and me out of the situation. And I figured if we could maybe get in the car or we could get outside, that somebody else would see and it would be a much better chance of us being locked away in my apartment, right, where at any moment expecting to die. I was just trying to basically protect her, because I thought for sure that it was over for me. So while I was duct taped, I kept praying to God, like, if I survive this, then I'm going to quit making the content that I do. I'm going to quit. And not that I was making the content. You get, as like a publicist doing as long as I did, and in marketing, you stop listening to the music and it just becomes a product. And I wasn't even listening to the music I was promoting. I didn't have to. I just had to set up the media interview request, set up, the media, I wasn't really focused and paying attention to what I was promoting. And then there I was duct taped, realizing that this is the type of content that I'm pushing out. Like, I knew it was violent. I knew it was vulgar, obviously, but here I am now duct taped with my daughter, my 14-year-old daughter next to me. That's when I basically pleaded with God silently that if I survive this, then I'm going to quit doing any kind of music with any kind of violent content.
Wow.
We survived.
Incredible.
So that's when I really, really quit doing, rap music, hip hop, anything violent, vulgar, or anything like that.
In the interview you recently did, you did an interview with Jaguar, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you guys touched upon this, and you said that very thing. What exactly do you mean by that? Do you feel that the music that you were promoting, basically, since you were doing the promo, you were the PR person, and you were promoting this type of music, do you feel that it came back to haunt you in a certain way, or
Correct.
You were in that environment? You were seeing the actual music play out in front of you? Because if we think about hip hop and rap, they specifically talk about things like this. If we go to West Coast, there was a whole genre of home invasion music where they promoted, and if I wasn't mistaken, YG made a music video I'll say 2-3 years ago, where he was telling people how to commit a home invasion. So essentially, you felt that at that moment, you were seeing the negative aspects of promoting this music onto the people.
You're correct. And so after we found out who they were and they were arrested, the first one was arrested, obviously I'm going to go to his Facebook and I'm going to look around, and because I couldn't see him because I was duct taped. And when I went to his Facebook likes, he only had 2 or 3. And one of the people that he liked, where you have sports teams and artists, was one of my clients at the time, which was Boosie Badass. And I was like, whoa, that really freaked me out, because I was like, he only likes a few people. He likes Boosie Badass. Boosie Badass was an artist that I just started working with, but it had nothing to do with him at all. It's just, that's what I'm telling you. That's the type of music that I was promoting. And I didn't even get a chance to promote anything with Boosie. He still follows me on Twitter, and I'm still cool with these people, but I didn't even get a chance to promote anything, because when he hired me to bring me on, that happened, and that took me out. And I was working with this artist, Young Blue.
I also want to talk about that. You said you prayed to God.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that you felt that God in that moment helped you out of that situation?
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Do you feel that after that moment you saw things differently?
Well, to be totally honest, after it happened, even though I was praying to get out of the situation, I moved, and I remember being in my place, and I was really blasphemous towards God because of the ramifications of what it did to the relationship with my daughter. I was literally walking around my place, swearing and cussing at God, blaming God. And that was a changing moment, because God can take that. I think God wants you to come to him. He just, so when I say that, yeah, I was being I was being completely disrespectful, and I was so angry, but I also felt very, very comforted. After that, I felt comforted, but I went down the opposite way. So instead of going the positive way for a while, I went the negative way, and I really got lost into psychedelics and drugs.
You're coping with the trauma. That's
with the trauma.
Understandable. And also, a lot of people have that issue where they blame God when these type of things happen, because we as humans, we ask God to protect us, and we say, God, and we expect it in a way. And then when situations like this happen, we then ask God, why didn't he protect us? But the thing is, we are in a world where everyone has free will. Everyone is in control of, the things that they're doing.
For
And
sure.
God gave us that free will so that he can determine who are the people who are his people, who's going to choose God at the end of the day. And at that moment, you ask for God to protect you. And you might not know, in a way, he probably did. Not from stopping that home invasion, but from changing your life so that you don't end up in that situation again later on. From putting you in a different path where you're no longer in the den with these wolves,
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you felt trauma, you felt pain, you felt all the things that are associated with a situation that you went through. And most people break down from there, and it gets worse than what you explained coping, but a lot of people would have gone even worse. Some people would have never been able to recover from that. And I know that since you were in the industry and you made a living off of promoting that type of music, promoting rap, promoting hip hop, promoting anything with violence in it, for you to even say, "Oh, I'm gonna turn around from this and go a different way," that shows that God already had an impact on you. Because at that moment, you had a moment of clarity. You realized, things are getting dark, and this is the reason, because I've involved myself in this.
Correct. Yeah. Yes.
Now, I want to get into some important things that you said in the interview, specifically that the man you have behind you. In the interview you did with Jaguar Wright, you messaged me and you told me that Jaguar claimed that she believed Drake was somehow involved in this home invasion situation.
That's correct. So I was working with two people. I was working with Boosie Badass, and I was working with Drake. And I was working with Drake through a situation that I can't talk about so freely. But yes, I was involved in the situation with Drake that is out there really heavy in the media. So when she said that, because 3 people pled guilty.
Did Drake hire you directly, or was it Drake's baby mother?
It was Drake's baby mother. And then it was also when it's like she hires me and then I'm working for Drake and I'm dealing with his lawyer and stuff like that.
And I know like you said, you can't release what
Both.
You were working with him for, essentially.
Both.
But this is around what time? What year?
This was right when the home invasion, 2017.
2017, around that time. Okay.
April.
Okay, continue. Sorry about that. Just wanted
to... So I was working with both.
All right.
But I never thought that, Drake, because as I said, 3 people pled guilty and went to prison. But weird things would keep happening with law enforcement. Weird things that were very powerful, right? That were unexplainable, because there was another person that for sure should have been indicted. And this other person was dating one of the people who went to prison. She was like public with it on her Facebook. And she was taunting. It was in a taunting way, right? I'll just say exactly what it is. She was my ex-fiance of 9 years. She was the only one who knew that there was a safe there and there was that kind of money in the safe. And the only reason why we had cash in this safe is because around like 2008, when the world was supposed to collapse with the financial thing, we just started saving money. And she would be like paranoid about like if something happens, in the country and all this other stuff. So we set a amount of money that only she knew about. And when they came in, they asked for that amount of money. So I knew it was her. Not only that, there was an EPO against my ex-fiance, right? And the EPO was my mom had did it because of some threats that she had made against my daughter. Those same threats that had me duct taped by her and her guy, made these threats. This was going to happen. And now here it was happening. And so I told the police, like, obviously we know who this is. because after the home invasion happened, I was dealing with the same police that I was dealing with for the months prior, because we had a real messy breakup. Like I told you guys that she was a real threat. She never got charged, even though they like took her cameras. She wanted her cameras back because we just bought all these cameras, real expensive, that on my credit card. They took her cameras. There's one of the things gone. So like when the police arrested the one of the people, from his trunk, they pulled out like most of her stuff that she had asked the police before then for it. So I was like, all right, she's going to jail, like thank God, like this is over with, this toxic part of my life. But she didn't. And I went to the governor, I went to the mayor, I went to everybody that I could in Louisville, Kentucky, like because it was done in St. Matthews. So it was like St. Matthews police are different from the Louisville police. But I went into the Louisville police. I went to everybody, why isn't she charged? Clearly, she did this. She was never charged. And I could never figure out, because she had no power. But I was up against a powerful entity that kept like shutting it down. So she ended up getting like a big lawyer, and she sued me for $2 million. And like, I was shocked because, I was shocked at everything, because like after that happened, like, I don't care. Like if you're in a relationship and you guys have a messy breakup, if something like that happens where you're duct taped and you with your daughter and you're in a home invasion and a, trauma, it seems like that's going to eliminate all the fights you had. It seems like that's going to make you realize, okay, well, oh my gosh, I'm going to check and make sure that you're okay. That's what I would do. That's what seems like what most people would do. She didn't do that. She put her, foot on my neck, and she kept coming for me, and she kept winning with a big lawyer and a big lawsuit, and the police wouldn't do anything. And it was very, very strange that I was dealing with this power to be that was just trying to like make my life like miserable since that moment of the home invasion up until honestly 2022, when the lawsuit happened and she won the $2 million judgment. I was like, it forced me to like really like step back and really just spend time with like my current girlfriend, and just completely get out of the music business and the entertainment industry, because I was tired of fighting these invisible people that were wreaking havoc on my life, these invisible forces, right, that I was dealing with, because it was very strange. And I spoke out about it. I tried to do everything possible, and I kept losing,
In the same interview, I saw you stated that at the time you were working with Drake's baby mother, and it was around the same time the Pusha T situation was going on and the Drake and Pusha T beef was going on. Is that why Jaguar Wright thinks that Drake might have something to do with it?
Jaguar Wright said so because she had found something on the dark web, because she's been through some trauma herself, is what led her to believe that. When she said that in the interview, it was completely shocking for me, because I never even thought that. I knew that I was dealing with something so powerful. And it's not like Drake would I don't think Drake would, contact somebody and say that. But it's his, like, he's so powerful and he generates so much money that, like I said, they have handlers, they have managers, they have lawyers, they have stuff. Somebody was doing something, and I don't want to say him at all, right? Because I don't necessarily, believe that, but somebody connected to him for sure. So, but then something else happened. Somebody who watched the interview pointed out Drake's lyrics to the song. If you want to pull them up, you can.
N-word scared to come towards us, gotta run from us. Louisville, hush money for my young gunners.
Okay, let's stop there. There. The Louisville hush money. I was in Louisville. That's very far from Toronto or anything else I had. It's a small town, Louisville, Kentucky. And he says, Louisville. Well, what does he say after that?
Hush money for my young gunners.
And the hush money would be probably the situation with his baby mama was, you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Okay. And then he says the Gunners, it was an armed robbery.
Yeah.
And then he
says, pick Patinos, I take them to strip clubs and casinos. Stack of C notes, get all your N-words scratched like Primo.
So getting scratched, obviously he's getting killed.
Mm-hmm.
The strippers are, and the casinos are, when I gave him my debit cards, because we're just trying to survive. And so I gave him like my right PIN number.
Yeah.
And my credit card, because I remember the police were like, well, why would you do that? Because I'm thinking, well, maybe he's going to go right down the street in St. Matthews and make sure that the PIN number works. And so then he's going to come back and tell us, because there was 2 people in there.
Exactly.
Right? So they took it and it worked. They went to a strip club, which was so stupid because they're on camera using my card. That's how they got their ID. And then they went across the bridge to the casino.
Yeah, and look, don't get me wrong. I expose artists all the time, and Drake is one of the artists that I've spent a lot of time on investigating. And when the whole XXX Tentacion situation happened, no one can prove he had any involvement in it or not. But it was the same thing as this. It's like he wanted people to believe he was involved with the lyrics that he had. He had specific lyrics that were targeting X and almost like bragging about taking him out, whether he had something to do with it or not.
Exactly.
But he definitely is a clever man, and he is the type of person who does everything, hidden. He sneak disses. It's the way he operates. He doesn't address it directly. He likes to sneak this. He likes to add little coded terms and coded messages. And like you said, in that interview, I heard you state that you were working with his baby mom.
Mm-hmm.
He, for some reason, believed that you were involved in that information about Adonis, his son, being leaked. And maybe it's the reason why a person like Drake would be upset at a publicist like you, who was the one that the label was working with or his management was working with. And who knows, he could have 100% made a call and got something like this done. I wouldn't put it past Drake.
He could have, but I think it's exactly what you said. And I'm glad you said that and pointed that out, because it's been like, jarring my head since you said that. Not only Drake, but other powerful people, because I was up against a powerful entity for sure. Like, I think it's the latter, because Louisville hush money, like he doesn't have Louisville hush money anywhere else. And I'm not saying that he gave me, Louisville hush money. I don't want to say that, but people can kind of come to the conclusion. But Louisville hush money is very straightforward, and coming with guns and then doing something and then going to strip club and casino, which is exactly where they went.
Wow.
And the police thought they were so stupid to go to a strip club and a casino.
No,
right. So it's all very strange. And I think he was mad probably because I was blamed for the Pusha T thing.
Nah, the stupidest part is making a song about it. God, dog, you mean to tell me you mean to tell me these people don't, man. See, I'm allergic to jail. I can't make no song saying I committed a crime because I'm too busy trying to get away. That's if I did a crime. No.
And that was like immediate. That was like after that happened, with this baby mama, because the relationship is, I was working with Saha the Prince forever. Saha the Prince is like Kanye West, his main writer. If you look up Saha the Prince, his real name is Sidell Young. And if you look at Kanye, a lot of Kanye West's writing credits are from Sidell Young. He was signed to Good Music, and he worked directly under Pusha T. And Saha the Prince has been like my friend and somebody I've worked with for over 10 years, right? At the point. Yeah. So people thought that because nobody else knew that she was pregnant with Drake's baby, right? And so, and all the information that came out in the Pusha T diss, a lot of people felt that was me from telling Saha, who told Pusha T. And I can tell you the honest to God truth, just as I told them, I never told Pusha T one thing about it. I mean, I never told Sahada to Prince one thing about it. We never even talked about it. We've never even had conversations like that. We would just collaborate on stuff. Like, it wasn't like he was a friend, but he's not somebody that I'm going to confide in. I don't even think
a business friend.
Yeah, I don't think he knew about the home invasion. We never talked about it. Right. So they just assume, because it's like, where did this information come from? So maybe Drake, when he was dropping that Sandra Rose album, and that's the Scorpion album cover behind me, where the Sandra Rose album is. I mean, what the Sandra Rose song is, maybe that was him letting me know, like, ha ha ha,
showing his power. No, I get exactly what you're saying. And if for the audience, as I already explained earlier in the video, the pattern is there. It all lines up perfectly. If Drake possibly thought you were the only person with this information, or, the only person that could have leaked this information, in his mind, I see it intimidation towards you. A way to say, you did something I don't like, now you're going to pay for it. Did it happen after or before?
I was working with Drake during when it happened.
Okay, so and then the information was leaked.
The Pusha T disc came out after, 3-4 months afterwards.
3-4 months afterwards. But there was talks maybe behind the scene or something, correct?
Correct.
Okay. To me, I personally, and a lot of people on this channel have seen that these artists, they operate on their own set of rules. And then they do specific things like this, where they will taunt you. They will say things, because even with the Drake, with the X situation, where he had lyrics about giving Louis bags full of money for body bags, and Triple X Tentacion, when he passed away, he had a Louis bag in his car, and that's what the people who took him out basically took from him, And people looked at that, and to this day, and then also in the music video that he did with Travis Scott for Sicko Mode, there's actually a moment they took time to do this. There's a person that they dressed up as Triple X Tentacion, and then they show Drake coming down on a meteor, crushing him. So, and this is after he's done. This is after he passed away. And you can go look up the video. I can give you the timestamp. You slow down the video, you see Drake coming down and crushing him. And he's done repeatedly, even in his recent album or an album or two ago, he was still kicking the dead horse, essentially, still trying to take responsibility for it. And then when lawyers were trying to bring Drake in to question him about the situation and question him why he had these type of lyrics, the lawyer who was defending one of the persons who were responsible for taking out X, he claimed that Drake was the one who hired them to do the job. Now, the other two denied it, but his lawyer tried to push that, my client is saying this, Drake is over here bragging about it in his raps. So there's 100% a possibility. And from what you're saying, he could have seen you definitely as a target. What Jaguar Wright claims, to me, makes perfect sense. Because if you're saying there was this power behind her, would you say that she had a lot of money during the situation?
No.
So where did that money come from? Where did those lawyers come from? Where did all this support come from? If it was the person she was dealing with associated with Drake in any way?
I don't know.
And that's the thing, because Drake is a person that he can have connections in a lot of places. It's a man with a lot of money and a lot of power. And it makes perfect sense to me.
Agree.
It makes perfect sense, especially when you have those lyrics, for it to just coincidentally mention the casino, mention the town, mention exactly what they did. It's just, it seems exactly what happened to me.
And now, I was working with his baby mama,
who he's not okay.
And there's hush money, and let me say something so I can be clear on that. His Sophie, his baby mother, was an angel. She was, she had like a past that people have come out with, but she loved her son. She was fighting for her son that was unborn, right? Like when I spoke to her, Drake didn't believe it at first. Like all this stuff is out, that you can read about. I've never had any issue with her. She's been wonderful, to be honest. She was like, I was so blown away by her, with her, because I was adopted, right? So I've been without a mom. So to see what she was going through, not from Drake, but to see what she was going through, I just got the utmost respect for Sophie. It's the issues with Drake afterwards. And I reached out to Drake. Like after the home invasion happened, I sent Drake this like crazy email. And I was like telling him, I was like, I know you don't, understand the love for your child now because you can't see the baby. I've been there. But when the child is born, it's going to be the greatest gift you've ever had. And you'll do anything to protect it. Yada, 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 yada. Cause I was trying to like mediate their situations, but I just want to make that clear. Everything with Drake has been weird, man. Like it's been really, really weird. I'm a fan of his music, obviously, but that situation with her has just been really strange. That's pretty much all I'm trying to say as much as I can without really saying it, you know?
For any reason, did you sign any NDAs when you were working with Drake?
I did a while back, after it happened, and then over another incident.
Okay, so those are what keeping you from being able to.
I'm able to speak about it, with questions and everything else when people ask me because, they know that it's going to be brought up, right? And I didn't know that Jaguar Wright was going to bring up such a thing. And a lot of people have asked me, and a lot of people have sent me questions, and a lot of people have sent me theories. So I'm trying to, address those issues, or those thoughts. Or if anybody out there watching on your channel or anybody can help, and especially like law enforcement, who's watching, anybody can look into it. That'd be fantastic.
Now, did you experience a lot of darkness in the music industry? Was there other situations that you would say, or was it just with Drake?
The music industry, of all of it, I'll always experience weird stuff, but I'm the type of person that I would never really like get consumed by it. I would just kind of look at it as a job, right? So it's like when you go work anywhere, it's like there's probably gonna be problems. So I would really just like basically clock in and then clock out. It wasn't until it started interfering with my real life, right? Like with the home invasion, and then like everything that's happened since then. It's like that's when it's really had me looking at things much deeper, and then talking to other people who've been through stuff. Like with the Diddy thing that we're seeing right now, like the person at Rolling Stone who wrote a powerful article, she contacted me like last year, and I pointed her in the right direction of some people that might be willing to go on record. And I'm always like, that's what I'm driven to now, is try to help for like advocacy, because it is such a dark place. The industry is not anything that people think it is. The bright lights are there to
blind you.
To blind you, exactly.
And would you say the part that you played in the music industry? See, on my channel, if you've seen some of my content, you know that
correct.
I expose the industry. That's what I do. And I try to point people to God in the same way, because I feel that the music industry has people under this manipulation, under this profitable lifestyle that they get to benefit from. But the people that are actually living that lifestyle are not at all. They're destroying their lives. They're going through darkness. They're experiencing things. Would you say that the industry, from what you experience, is like a brotherhood? It's almost like a club where the things that are happening in it, they all agree to stay quiet about it. Everyone agrees to keep it within the industry. And they paint this picture of, a different picture to the public.
That's true. If you're relevant.
Yes.
But once you're not relevant, it's over.
Now,
but that's what's so good about people like you and your channels and real life productions that host Jaguar, because a lot of people say, oh, she's crazy, she's a conspiracy theorist, and she's so, like, when you watch her interviews, she's so smart, she's so intelligent, and she's like a real freedom fighter. She's Jaguar Wright on and off the camera, right? She's like, she could be promoting her music, but she's more promoting and getting her message out there and the truth. Like, she's really an advocate. She's really about that, which is very inspiring. Whatever people think about her, whatever people don't believe her, she believes it from experience that she's been through 100%. She's just not, from what I've seen, she's just not going to come out there and say something that's not true. It's from people that she knows, and she knows a lot of powerful people that's what I want to say about that. But yeah, like it's an extremely dark, wicked place. And once you're relevant, you're loved, and then they kick you out. But as I was saying, people like you, people like Real Life, I went on a tangent, sorry about that. People like you, people like Real Life, other social media and YouTube platforms, you can get the message out, and you can't be censored and blacklisted and blocked as easy as you could back in the day, right? Like when Jay-Z was like, people used to speak out about Jay-Z and Drake, they wouldn't have jobs.
Yeah,
and then
100%.
when they didn't have jobs, they're losing their homes, they're losing their cars, and then they're going through depression, and then they can't afford to get a lawyer to even sue. And then they would reach out to a lawyer for contingency, like, hey, will you take my case? They can't sue. That's why, like, a lot of these people, like, you know, the Jay-Z's and the upper echelon of the level, nobody gives them lawsuit. You know, you can't afford to even report stuff that's happened to you. You can't even come out and report it. And if you do a police report and you say a celebrity, the police think, oh, this guy's, you know, crazy. And they say, well, file a civil lawsuit. Well, how? When you don't have any money, because they've fired you, they've kicked you out, they've spit you out. So they're stuck. And that's why you see with like the Diddy thing, that lawyer that's handling a lot of the accusers, I would say that he's probably doing a lot of this on pro bono.
No, he definitely is.
You know,
I believe his name is Blackbird or something like that.
Yeah, Tyrone Blackburn, correct.
Yeah. Now, there's some things that you said, a lot of what you said right now, it's, first of all, the reason why platforms like this exist is, one, because God, if one thing God is involved in is the truth. He's always going to allow the truth to exist. The truth is always going to be there. You just have to look for it. And there's going to be people that are telling the truth. And this platform was built on the truth and built on independence. We serve the people, not the industry. You know, I personally am here to tell the truth, and I don't care what the industry has to say, and I don't care if the industry blackballs me. I don't care if the industry doesn't want to do anything with us. And it's the same thing with Jaguar Wright. My question to you is, do you see any of Diddy's traits in Drake?
Did you hear this man say God?
Yeah.
Stands
100%, because
stands on the truth, baby. I wish I could do the shout dance. I wish I could shout. God stands on the truth, man. What is you talking about? Golly, Moses. Whew. Oh, man, I'm over this joint. Oh, I needed a break on that one. That's right. He said this channel stands on truth. That's why God blesses people who trying to help his people. Oh, my God. Here we go.
Blackballs me. I don't care if the industry doesn't want to do anything with us. And it's the same thing with Jaguar Wright. My question to you is, do you see any of Diddy's traits in Drake?
Yeah. 100%, because I think that if we're just being objective, we look at Jay-Z and we see when his children were born, we saw a change in Jay-Z, right? Especially as far as his content. Like, he put out 444, and he seems like he's trying to be an activist socially, even though it's definitely benefiting him. But he's like changed his ways. Like, you're not seeing Jay-Z in parties on social media. You're not seeing Jay-Z like the Jay-Z that he once was. Diddy never changed. Having the children that he didn't change him. You know, he kept going. He kept having these parties. And the thing with Drake is the very similarity, I would say, between him and Diddy that you're talking about is that very thing. Drake isn't, all his music that's came out is still the same, like, you know, party, fun vibes, you know, putting down women, degrading women, you know, glorifying, you know, sex, drugs, the good life, the good times. Like, that's what his music is about. And you still see him out and partying and whatnot, right? You're not seeing Jay-Z do that, right? He's not glamorizing anything like he used to. So if I were to say anything about Jay-Z positive, that would be it. It does seem like his life has changed since his daughters were born. right?
At least his public persona.
At least his public persona, right? But Drake, I would say, is a lot like Diddy in that way. You know, he's a partier, and he seems to like that kind of lifestyle.
The fact that you mentioned Jay-Z, I want to actually ask you a question about Jay-Z. You said in that interview with Jaguar Wright and Real Life Productions, you stated that you were actually the one responsible for spreading the rumor that Jay-Z and Rihanna had hooked up. Now, my question to you is, do you believe that at all? Did you believe that rumor before you said it, before you claimed it? Do you believe that there's any truth? Not saying that you're accusing Jay-Z. Let's make this clear. We're not trying to get anybody in trouble here. But do you believe that there's a possibility that that could have been true? And the reason why I'll say this to you before you answer, Jay-Z signed Rihanna at 3 o'clock in the morning when she was 16 years old. I believe it was in a hotel room, but it could have been in the office, in the record label office. She was also discovered in a hotel room. That's what it was. She was discovered when she was a teenager in a hotel room. I forgot the producer's name, but he was vacationing in Barbados, right? And he discovered Rihanna in a hotel room, had her audition, her and 2 other girls in a hotel room. Now, to me, with my investigation and my, the way I look at things, a 16-year-old girl in a country like Barbados with people with money like this usually go over there to have fun. You know what I'm saying? So without, saying anything that would get you in trouble, can you explain why you made that, that PR move and said that Drake and Rihanna had, not Drake, Jay-Z and Rihanna had something going on? And then can you tell me if you believe any of that could be a possibility?
I can't believe.
So as far as the rumor, I came out and said that I started the rumor a long time ago because I was told that I would be rewarded significantly.
Okay.
For coming out and saying that I started the rumor, and it stuck. I was to be the one that was to fall on the sword, so to speak.
Okay.
And it's like, for the very reasons that I told you why I couldn't really, do anything. I had to make compromises like that all the time because my life depended on it. My bills depended on it. My food, my drink, my loved ones depended on it. That's my career. It's my job. Like, it's all I've ever done. What am I supposed to do? Right? So when I come out there and I would like openly admit it, like I started the rumor, there was reasons, for me saying that, right? But at the same time, when we put out the rumor, it wasn't just me that put it out. There was other people involved that came up with the idea of putting that out. When I was first introduced to the Rihanna project from a producer, the first thing he said to me was, "She looks like Beyonce." And she did. She was 16 at the time, and she looked very much like she was trying to look like Beyonce. So that was very strange, right? And then I started hearing her music and loving it and promoting it. Then the Becoming Beyonce book comes out in 2015. And it talks about me being the person who put out the rumor. And, went viral back then in 2015. I went on Inside Edition. I apologize for putting out the rumor.
It was the rumor would not go away. Rihanna was romancing Jay-Z behind Beyonce's back. But now, at last, we can put that rumor to rest.
Did Rihanna and Jay-Z have an affair?
No. It was all a publicity stunt.
Jonathan Hay is a music industry publicist who says he made up the whole affair to get attention for Rihanna's first single back in 2005. He makes that shocking revelation in the new book, Becoming Beyonce, an unauthorized biography by best-selling author J. Randy Carabarelli.
I was desperate at the time because I wanted to have a hit record.
The rumor caught fire. So much so, Jay-Z and Beyonce, who were dating at the time, broke up for a year because Beyonce wanted no part of love triangle involving Rihanna, the book claims.
She was 17 years old. You picked a potentially dangerous way to promote a new artist.
Agree. Yeah, we were young and stupid.
And since that day, I'll get emails. These random.
Damn, yeah, that was like, come on, cousin. You see the lies, right? You see, they're being exposed. what Cat Williams say? All lies will be exposed. That's all. Oh my God, here we go.
Random emails at least 3 or 4 times a year of people who's claiming that Rihanna has been trafficked, right? And at first I would get annoyed and I would be like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. Earlier this year, March, it was in March, and this person told me that he wanted to reach out to Rihanna. I told him I didn't know how anymore. But he said that she is being trafficked and she's been trafficked, blah, 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 blah. And it just really, it's stuck. And this is before I was doing the interview with Jaguar, right? This is before I came out and spoke about this stuff. And I even argued with that guy. I was like, just stop reading the internet, watching, all these different conspiracies about her being trafficked. There's no way that there's no way that it's true. And I got really, really frustrated, and I argued with this guy. I was like, you're just a fan. You're just a super fan, whatever. But then I started to really think about it. And then I started to realize how much that has happened. That's never happened with any other artists I've worked with. Nobody's ever said so-and-so is being trafficked or has been trafficked or escaped from a trafficking ring. I've never heard that about anybody but her. And my thing is like, okay, well, I don't think that she's being trafficked now. She's a billionaire. She can get her own lawyers. She could get away, not trafficked now, but I don't think that she's trying to get away from Jay-Z. But I don't know. It's like all this is just getting stranger and stranger, like every day, especially like with what we're seeing with Diddy. You're talking about one of the most powerful people in hip hop, the same level as Jay-Z. It's like everybody says that he's next. So we'll see. I just know what I've dealt with when people have come and told me it's always been very, very strange, Yeah. But what's more strange is the fact that these people have told me these strange things, and people who don't know each other, right? They're not related or they're not connected, and they're reaching out for positive and trying to help a situation. And I always shut it down. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Call the authorities.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, she's not being trafficked, obviously, because she's a grown woman and she's willingly in the industry and she's, making money.
Correct.
But when she was 16 years old and she was discovered in Barbados, and she was in a hotel room with a grown man who we don't know what he was there for. But let's be realistic here. Men in the music industry love to go to third world countries, love to go to, or second world countries, whatever you want to call Barbados. And they like to go there and they like to have fun. They like to do things that they wouldn't be allowed to do here in America, And Rihanna ended up going from there to Jay-Z's office in a matter of months. And then inside of Jay-Z's office, this isn't the only young woman at the time who people were rumoring that Jay-Z was with. If we look at Beyonce, I've already looked in. I've already found times where Jay-Z said that he basically met her 16, 17. And he didn't claim he was in a relationship with her. He insinuates that he met her at that age. And if we use our mind, if we use common sense, possibility that he was already flirting with her or into that, because by the time she was 18, they were in a relationship essentially. And it's the same thing with, what was it, Little Mama? Is that the other artist that was with Jay-Z?
Foxy Brown.
Or Foxy Brown, yeah. Foxy Brown was
15.
Exactly my point. And also, it's rumored,
he said Little Mama,
that she had something going on with Jay-Z as well before she, was an adult. Aaliyah, another person who was very relatively young, is also rumored that Jay-Z had something going on with her. Now, we also see that Jay-Z and Diddy have a very close relationship. We've seen them party together often. And let's be honest here. Those parties are the pre-party for the freak-off party. Those parties that we see with all the celebrities, those are the parties that end up as the freak-off parties. It might not be documented here because, that's too much money to lose. This is my theory. I don't think that we're going to see a lot of people go down with P. Diddy, specifically not someone like Jay-Z, because he still has a lot of use for the people in the industry. He still has a lot of use for those up top. But it looks like they have a very similar pattern of behavior. Now, you didn't answer the question. You don't have to if you don't want to. At any moment, did you personally feel that they could have had something going on? Jay-Z and Rihanna?
Definitely.
You can say okay, allegedly, definitely.
Not allegedly.
Okay, definitely. See, I agree with you 100%. That's what I believe as well. And the people that reached out to you, they essentially made you cover this up. They, like you said, made you throw yourself on the sword and take responsibility for something that you weren't even the one 100% behind the rumor. They just told you to say it. Correct?
Correct.
And this is important because this is how the industry protects itself and cleans up. You are not at the level of Jay-Z, so they had no issues with throwing you, under the bus and blaming it on you. And if they say if it's all a rumor, then it's all a rumor, and everyone's going to go with that story because nobody wants to believe it. Nobody wants to believe that their idols are evil or their idols are doing anything wrong. So they're already coping and making excuses for it, even when the evidence is in their face. And it's a lot of people saying that Jay-Z, like you said, is next. Do you believe Jay-Z is next, though?
I do.
But in what sense? Do you think that they will allow a person like Jay-Z to be taken from his position? Because it looks like they're clearing Diddy's spot to give it to him.
That's a good point. But I think what you should look in and maybe flash the lyrics on the screen to that is the song that he did with Foxy Brown on his debut album, and which was in 1996. She was a minor, and listen to the content that a grown man is having with a minor, and just read the lyrics. It's "Ain't no player" is the clean version, and the explicit version is "Ain't no N-word." And this is an adult doing a song with a minor. I think she was 14, 15, 16 at the oldest, with that kind of lyrical content is absolutely crazy. It's like, who would ever, usually when there's kids around, like as we're grown men, we're going to quit talking like that, right?
Of course.
Like the fact that he released his album that's still on his debut album with her as a teenager is crazy.
Yeah, and his relationship with R. Kelly.
His relationship with R. Kelly and his relationship with Harvey Weinstein, who he was signed to, and his relationship with Diddy, which goes back to 1996.
Even Nas, and you can say Nas was just dissing Jay-Z, but Nas specifically stated that Jay-Z and R. Kelly were doing the same thing with the same girls that were at the studio together. And that's a strong accusation, but let's be honest, it's like what they're saying now about Drake. Oh, Drake's into the minors. If you have been following Drake loves to rap about hooking up with 18, 19, as young as he can. That's what he legally states. But if you're aiming for an 18-year-old at 36, you're not going to compromise at a 17-year-old, a 16-year-old. It wouldn't matter. It's the same thing. What's the difference between a 16 and an 18-year-old besides the fact that they're legal? But they're both still teenagers, and they're both still extremely young and undeveloped, mentally at least, Okay. And would you say that there's another P. Diddy in the industry or more P. Diddy's in the industry from your time at the industry?
P. Diddy he's a one-on-one. Like the fact that we call him P. Diddy and, Puff Daddy and Puffy and Sean Combs and all the different variations. He's a one-on-one with like his like level of freak-offs. And his was like, he did it for so long because he's doing it out in the open. He's got a 40-foot bed in his backyard and people are, jumping on it. And he's having these freak off parties with like a lot of people involved. And then they got bigger and bigger. Like they found, thousands of bottles of like lubricant, literally.
Baby oil.
Yeah. So like, I think he was just all out in the open. Like, I can do whatever I want. I think the other people that are doing it are much more careful, much more calculated, and are much more wicked.
So they're in there. That's exactly my question. My question is there more people that you believe that are still behaving like Diddy? Yeah. But understand this. The industry is definitely a cult in a sense where there's a power structure. There's an organization that rules over the industry. There's a method of operation because most people think that the artists are doing what the artists are doing. And it's never really the artists. The artists are doing what the record labels allow them to do. That's literally the best way to put it. And when I'm not saying that situations don't happen outside of that, but the record labels knew about Diddy's behavior. The record labels knew about Drake's so-called behavior. They all know what these people are into, and they're okay with this. This is not their fight. Their fight is with that information coming out. They're there to make sure that it doesn't come out.
Right.
So it's a protective layer to keep the industry appearing as this wonderful, lavish place where they need more people to sign up for. They need more people to populate it, so they don't want to scare anybody off.
Mm-hmm.
But would you say that? Did you attend any parties or anything while you were in the industry?
I attended parties, but I've never been to a Diddy's party. But I've definitely been to like social gatherings for sure. Because let's be honest, it's one big party. That's what it is,
Yeah.
And when people say party, it's not like so like a label person I worked with, it's like, yo, you're going to come over and we're going to party. That doesn't mean like we're going to have a celebration and a bunch of noise and people dancing. That just means, are you going to come by? Are we going to do drugs? Like partying doesn't require, when people say party in the music industry, it's usually a party between 4, 5, 6 people. That's what it's classified as party. Like, yo, we're going to party tonight. Where's the party at? It's not usually like this. You understand what I'm saying? Like the way Diddy would do. That's what made Diddy was so crazy, because he would like really have like all these, he was really partying, doing all this stuff. And they would say for days, right? So at the other higher levels that I've been in, partying meant a few people over drinking and probably going to be some drug use.
And it would probably get some more extreme from there, right?
Correct.
At any moment, did you see do you know what the Freemasons are?
Yes.
Would you say that there's Freemasons involved in the music industry?
Yes.
Okay. See, that right there should prove to many people alone that you're being 100% honest, because most people in the industry aren't going to say that.
Right.
Most people in the industry are afraid of this question, or they act like they don't even know what the Masons are. Now,
but they show the symbolism so clearly.
Yeah, of course. And that's my next question. Do you believe people like P. Diddy, Jay-Z, Beyonce, do you believe they're members of either the Freemasons or other occult organizations?
That's why I think Diddy's a one-on-one, because I don't really think that he was. He was like his own occult. And kind of like what you said, maybe he made somebody upset or something. Like Diddy's always been kind of like a lone ranger, a lone wolf. Right.
He uses the same symbolism though.
Right. But Jay-Z, you're right. But Jay-Z, yes, 100%.
Okay, good. Are you a Freemason by chance?
No.
Okay, good. I just got it. These are the questions so that my audience would trust you. And this is important to know.
Man, hell with that. I'm a Freemason. I'm a free man. Is that two different things? I'm just playing, man. Here we go. Y'all know I'm crazy.
Good. Are you a Freemason by chance?
No.
Okay, good. I just got it. These are the questions so that my audience would trust you. And, this is important to know. Jay-Z is definitely a Freemason. Mm-hmm. Diddy is 100% a Freemason. His the same man that I was telling you about, the guy who was interviewed inside of the jail by the police. He was interviewed in a interrogation room, and he was interrogated. And this is literally what he said. He said P. Diddy, Rick Ross, and DJ Khaled. He said they're all gay, and he said that they're all a part of the Bole Masonic organization.
Oh, wait a minute. I ain't gonna show it. Hey, when I first saw this, I was laughing so hard, man. It ain't funny, but I'm laughing at this guy because he got caught, right? He in some type of wax museum shooting and running around with no socks on. You is high out of your mind. And then the police catch you and they want to know why are you in this museum, right? And he over there talking about some, look, let me tell you something. Rick Ross, DJ Khaled, and P. Diddy, they all gay. And I'm like, what? I know that police. I can imagine a police officer saying, man, what? I'm talking about you over here. First of all, you look like he hides I don't know what with that daggone hospital apron on. Oh my God, I was dying laughing, man. We was doing the reactions and stuff on this. I went to bed, I was just still laughing. Oh my God. Watch this. Y'all can't tell me this ain't funny, man. Watch this. Wave it.
He said P. Diddy,
oh my
Rick Ross,
God,
and DJ Khaled. He said they're all gay. And he said that they're all a part of the Bole Masonic organization.
Diddy and Ross, which are good buddies, okay? They're gay.
Who?
Both. Diddy and Ross. And Khaled. They're all gay, okay?
DJ Khaled, Rick Ross, and P. Diddy?
Yeah.
They all gay?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I know you may or may not, I know you're gonna believe me. You have what's called the Illuminati.
Yeah,
How do I
you
know
right
this?
about that.
Yeah, that's what I want to know. How do you know this?
You know Sean Combs?
Puff Daddy?
Yeah.
P. Diddy, whatever you call himself
Yeah.
these days. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he's part of what's called the Boule. The Boule is a branch of the Illuminati.
Okay.
Which is essentially it's a fraternity, a black fraternity within Freemasonry. So
Oh my God.
this is pretty much out there. Now,
Oh my God.
were you ever asked at any moment to be brought into this type of lifestyle? Not directly, maybe indirectly, maybe invited to certain situations where you felt uncomfortable or you felt that things were off?
Damn it, man.
Yeah,
Can
for
you?
sure. And I would say with what I do know for a fact, not alleged, but DJ Khaled is bisexual. And Jay-Z has also participated in bisexual activities.
Would you want to say allegedly
No.
for your safety?
There's no, I would say allegedly, if it was allegedly. DJ Khaled, 100% has been involved in,
Hey,
he's bisexual.
dude, I'm going to let y'all know, man, from day one. I kept saying, what does he do? He's hanging around Diddy. I kept saying it, man. I said, you know what? I'm not in the streets no more. I can care if you are, if you're not, and if you're covering up. I don't care. Only thing I do know is I know. I can tell, man. God has given me that gift. It ain't for me to tell your business, bruh. That ain't for me to do. But I know one thing, and you know what's funny? I hope she listening. I swear to God. This girl left a comment telling me something. She called herself busting me out. I'm over here laughing like shit. Oh my God. Bullshit. Oh, I'm laughing. She said, and you look like you bisexual. I said, really? What does bisexual look like? I'm dying to know. Good God Almighty, when I'm breaking my neck to go to the Philippines, right? And can't wait to get into bed because the plane ride was so long. The plane ride is so long and I'm tired, so I can't wait to get into bed. See how I cleaned that up? Oh my God. She said you bisexual. If I was bisexual, I would let the world know. I could make more money if I was, but I ain't. But I ain't though. Damn. And what makes it so bad is I got in trouble. I got in trouble because I wouldn't go to a party that somebody was giving. I don't want to be around that. That ain't me. I don't have nothing against you, but I don't want to party and celebrate life with you. Here we go, y'all. DJ Khaled. I knew that. I been knew that. That's why he hanging around Diddy so much.
DJ Khaled, 100%. Has been involved in.
Oh my God.
He's bisexual. I did a show called One Shot.
Oh my God.
And he was in Miami.
He
was open with the guy that he was with.
Damn.
He was gay. And I don't understand what happens there where, because nobody said anything to me like, hey, make sure you don't, go out and say this on record. Make sure you don't say this, da-da-da-da-da. So it's weird that would still be hidden. That seems like that should be a fact that DJ Khaled, at least in 2016, was definitely bisexual.
Okay, and
and Jay-Z is without question bisexual.
Okay. I agree with you. I know I
Jay-Z's mom is gay.
Jay-Z's mother?
Yeah, she's gay openly.
Okay. I'll have nothing against any person's preference, but in the industry, they like to hide this, specifically in hip hop.
Oh my God. Well, that's some new information. I didn't even know Jay-Z. I don't know nothing about Jay-Z's mother. I didn't even know Jay-Z's mother was living, dead, or in existence. Jay-Z mommy is gay. I don't even know which one is Jay-Z mama. The one with the dreads? No, wait a minute. I can figure it out. Look at that nose and them lips. Got him! Got him! Oh! Whoa! Whoa! Oh my God. Go ahead, man. We ain't gonna get through. Man, we gotta get through this video, Uncle Mike. I said it. It's the one with the dreads. That's clear. I forgot who we were talking about, right? Jay-Z. Am I right? She got on the she the man too. She got on the tuxedo and everything. God dang, Jay-Z. My bad. Hey, I need to take all that back because boy, if Jay-Z see this, I'm sorry, Jay-Z. It's a joke, man. It was a joke. Don't send nobody after me, man. I'm sorry. I'm easy to find too. My bad, man. Hold on. Here we go. God dog it.
At least in 2016, was definitely bisexual.
Okay, and
that's an
and Jay-Z is without question bisexual.
Okay, I agree with you. I know. I
Jay-Z's mom is gay.
Jay-Z's mother?
Yeah, she's gay openly.
Okay, I'll have nothing against any person's preference.
Me neither.
But in the industry, they like to hide this, specifically in hip hop. They're trying to make this normal now. They're trying to push it on so it can be more accepted within the hip hop community. But the reason why they would want to keep this from the public is because they're pushing this gangster, tough guy, manly of all men persona. And if it were to come out that they were not the manly of men, so I think that's the reason why they hide it. But I 100% believe that these people are bisexual, gay, and I believe that, like I said, the Freemasons, they don't see themselves as men. They see themselves as gods. That's what the 33rd degree literally represents. It represents enlightenment. It represents reaching the level of a god. And most people will say that God is genderless, even though in Christianity, God is a man, essentially a man type of being. But in the Kabbalist way that they look at these things, they see man and woman as one. It's called the great androgynine.
My bad, John. I don't give a damn. I'm sitting over here like, I don't care what you call it. You want to be a god? Go ahead and be a god. Kanye West think he a god. We all should be gods. We should be close or like God, right? I don't care what you call it. I don't care. I ain't getting in no bed with no man, period. Now, God, that. That's how. I love all kinds of stuff, but I love sleeping with women, not no man. I don't care what religion. I don't care what religion, how much money you have. I don't want no animals in the bed. I don't want no fish in the bed. I just want women in the bed. That's what I want. I might want a lot of money. I might want a boat. I want a fast car. I want motorcycles. I don't want to jump from no goddamn airplane, and I don't want to go real deep in the water, and I don't want to sleep with no man. That's just stuff I don't want. I don't care about all this, the double heads and all that, snakes, and I don't care about that stuff. I listen and go ahead and, oh, wow, look at this. Ooh, that's good. Ooh. Okay, now get in the bed with a man. Nope, see you later, bye. I'm out of here.
In the Kabbalist way that they look at these things, they see man and woman as one. It's called the great androgynine. If I'm mispronouncing it, I'm sorry. But it's alchemy in the sense where the femininity and the masculinity come together to create one being, which is a God. And that's literally what Masonry teaches. So I wouldn't be surprised if 90% of these people in the industry at the level of Jay-Z, Drake, Kendrick Lamar, Kanye West, all of these people at the top, if they're into this kind of thing, because I personally believe, and I've personally proven hundreds of times, that you just cannot get to that level without being a part of that club. Would you agree with that?
I definitely would agree.
Great.
And listen, as you're saying this, and I'm thinking about the DJ Khaled situation, that TV show, it's on BET right now. It's called One Shot. And I left. There's like stories out there where I left One Shot. And I said that I left One Shot to be because I was reunited with my birth parents. And that's not really, I mean, that is the truth. But the reason why I left, because the whole was gay. RZA is bisexual. Sway Calloway is bisexual. Who else was out there? DJ Khaled was bisexual. It was like one big, gay party that was all like closet.
Hold up, man. I only know, well, I know the two guys on the end. My man with the hat, he always had the same hat on. That's messed up.
That is the truth. But the reason why I left, because the whole was gay. RZA is bisexual.
Which one is RZA? That's the one with the KXNG King. I think that's RZA. I don't know. No, RZA is, I don't know these people by name.
Sway Calloway is bisexual.
Yeah, Sway in the morning.
Who else was out there? DJ Khaled was bisexual. It was like one big, gay party that was all like closeted and like weird. That's why I left, because for the exact.
And that's how they get all these favors. You can go spend the night with this millionaire because he like also, so you can make some money, so you can get your DJ thing going off. I done figured the whole thing out. Y'all need to give Uncle Mike a round of applause.
That's the same things that you said. Like, people have their own preferences. People have their own beliefs. I know a lot of people. So I know a lot of, gay Christians. And then I know a lot of people like the church that my family started that would be like, there's no way that you could be a gay Christian. There's no way that you could be gay and also be a Christian at the same time. And I've done projects that are, supportive of LGBT, but it was all out in the open. The One Shot thing that I did with DJ Khaled and Sway Calloway and RZA of the Wu-Tang Clan was also gay and also hidden. And it was annoying and it was so weird because it's everything that you're talking about. Just like, be gay. Like, I know Lil Nas X is like, so like, I don't like any of his music, right? But he's out there in the open. And then do you want to talk about like dark, wild stuff that he's promoting? Like, it seems like he's, satanic as they come. Frank Ocean.
You see, what you're mentioning though, that you're mentioning the people that they're putting in place to try to normalize this within hip hop.
Right.
You do see that, right?
Yes.
Lil Nas X, his purpose was to bring down that barrier. His purpose is to make it normal, not for the generations where you come from or the generations where I come from, because they're not going to turn. That's not going to work with them. But it's for the new generation that's emerging now. They're expecting this to be normal within the next, 10 years. This is going to be popular. It's not just going to be Lil Nas X. It's going to be several rappers that are fully gay, fully embracing, that lifestyle and promoting it through their music and pushing it. Like we're seeing with, it's not just Lil Nas X. It's been gradually happening with Young Thug wearing the dress, with A$AP Rocky wearing a skirt, with Lil Uzi Vert painting his nails. Even Drake recently painted his nails. With even Latin artists like Bad Bunny wearing dresses and all this. And these are everybody that I've mentioned, I've already exposed for using occult imagery. And, we can argue that the label is the one behind the imagery. But
I don't care if they push it or pull it. I don't give a daggone. As long as you don't come over here with that dress on and start trying to touch me or I ain't, hey, family members, real talk, man. You better talk to your loved ones. You better talk to the younger generation. I mean, if they want to do that, that's on you. Just don't come over my house with it. I got rules in my house, and one of the rules is when you come in my front door, that's my house. You will be speaking to me. My bad, y'all. Here we go. God,
Bad
dog.
Bunny wearing dresses and all this. And
that's some bull right there. Now that I seen that, I ain't even watching no Super Bowl halftime show. I gotta do a reaction to it though, because we're a reaction channel.
these are everybody that I mentioned, I've already exposed for using occult imagery. And, you know, we can argue that the label is the one behind the imagery, but it doesn't change the fact that if they're involved with the label and they're pushing this, they're still involved, you know?
Mm.
Now, you mentioned you worked with Whitney Houston at a point, right?
Right.
I don't know if you've heard of the speculations that what happened to her wasn't her on her own free will. It wasn't something that she did to herself. Have you heard anything like that? And do you believe that what happened to Whitney Houston was, her accidental, or do you believe that there was something nefarious happening there?
I don't know. Whitney Houston was amazing to work with. She was so down to earth. She was so humble. And she would, even though that she struggled with substances, she was still so God-fearing, and she was always preaching and wanting to pray with you. And she was amazing. And it was so sad to see what was happening. What I think is weird is that she died in the bathtub, and so did her daughter. Like, what are the chances, man? She's the only person I know that died in the bathtub. And you mean to tell me that her daughter also dies in the bathtub? Come on. That's weird.
And when I was looking into Whitney, right, I don't know if you have heard anything of this sort, but it was saying that she was having trouble with Clive Davis. And we know Clive Davis is one of the most powerful men in the industry. He's technically responsible for P. Diddy. The rumor is that he was the one that,
powerful gay men too.
Yeah, it's rumored that he was the one who turned Diddy into what he is today. I covered all of this. I did a video about it, and Diddy, essentially, the rumor is, allegedly, Diddy was kicked off the label he was on. I forgot the name. And he was desperate to try to make it work. He had Biggie with him. He had Craig Mack with him. And he ended up having this meeting with Clive Davis. And essentially, he asked Clive Davis to save hip-hop, because at that moment, there was no money in hip-hop. There was no big market for hip-hop. And he wanted Clive Davis to essentially, invest in it and take it to the next level. And the rumor is that in order for Diddy to make this happen, he had to get on his knees and, please Clive Davis. Now, if we look at what Clive Davis revealed, that he himself is a gay man or bisexual man, and that he had relationship with men in the industry who he didn't reveal their names, but he claimed that he had a relationship with men in the industry.
I'm sorry.
Would you believe that Clive Davis might have had something to do with Whitney Houston, or is that something that you think is too far-fetched?
I think the fact that she died in the same hotel where Clive Davis's party was happening.
Yeah.
And he was notified about it.
Yep.
And then he continued to have the party.
He said, like, I think it was a 2 or 3 minute dedication to her, and then continued to have the party, which is kind of weird.
So meanwhile, now that's a different party than what that I was talking about earlier. This is a huge party.
Yeah, this is the
all the celebrities are out.
Yeah, the Grammy.
So they're in there partying while in the room upstairs, a couple floors up, there's a dead body of his most iconic artist and a crime scene going on, and everybody else is partying 2 floors down. And somebody that he says was like his daughter, and somebody that she really looked up to. He's one of the people who turned on her. You see what his action is, the way that he, keep the party going. Even though my dead artist is right above, a couple floors above us, keep the party going. That shows you what he thought about her.
And it's reported also that he told them not to remove the body so that it doesn't ruin the party, essentially. He told them to basically keep the body in the hotel room so that they can essentially continue their party without it being shut down or something.
Dude, I just want to know, man, in the comment section, man, y'all can go ahead and hit that comment section, man. Check this out. You have a party, right? I don't care. This normal people I'm talking to. I'm hoping I'm talking to some normal people. And this is one of your artists. This is somebody that's supposed to be in the party with you. I Maybe she was supposed to perform, maybe not. Somebody passes away in the party. You know what we do? Whole party shut down. Somebody in the party could have had death in their family, like their mama died or their father died or their husband or wife died. Whole party shut down. Especially at my party. You mean to tell me you got a person deceased upstairs that's supposed to be part of the party? Everybody in the party know the person, but we're going to keep partying. We're going to keep on partying. Shoot, Uncle Mike would have been gone. That's party. I'll be back. I'm drinking too much water. I got to go to the bathroom. Pew, I'm gone. And I would get on my hands and knees in my house and say, Lord, have mercy. I told you, Lord, these people crazy. They crazy. And I cannot believe that half the people in the party, okay, let's keep partying. I'd have been like, now, wait a minute. Y'all got a person upstairs that passed away. Come on, man.
That sort. This is what it's being
And they say I'm crazy.
Correct.
Now, going back to the Drake situation, I also feel that Drake might have had something to do with what happened to you, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe that Drake would want to retaliate against you because of what you're saying now?
No.
Why do you say that?
Because it's too much out in the open at this point. And I know too much, and I've told his representatives, like, if anything were to happen, other stuff is going to happen to reveal information. I know too much. I got exposed to too much information with text messages and videos and voice notes recording and everything else that I didn't ask for any of that, information. I didn't ask for any of that stuff. So I'm not worried about Drake. I'm not worried about Jay-Z. I'm not worried about any of these people anymore.
And
because I realized that my mother told me a long time ago, if I'm not using my gifts to glorify God, then I'm never going to be truly blessed. So I know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And this has happened organically. And these interviews have happened organically. And these things have happened organically. I wasn't seeking any of this. This has just happened because this is what God is pushing me to do. And that's not only what I feel, that's what I know, because it's happening, right? So I'm not scared of that at all. If I wouldn't be speaking.
That was beautifully said. I would say that. I respect everything you're saying, and I definitely respect, and I really appreciate the fact that you reached out to me and we were able to do this interview. And I'm happy that you weren't like most people who are afraid to say the truth because they're afraid of losing their money or they're afraid of losing, anything that is connected to this industry. And I want to tell all these artists, the moment that you come to a platform like this and you tell your story and something like this happens or something will, God forbid, happen, we're not going to let go. You're going to have to take out the whole 290,000 people that follow me and me because we won't let this go. We're here to stand up for the truth and we're going to protect our own. And you are telling me that you're moving with God, and that makes you my brother. We're brothers, essentially. We're in the same fight. And I'm tired of these artists using money, power, and all these type of things as leverage to keep people quiet. So if people don't want to tell their story, I'm going to say it for them. But I'm happy that you came on here and you reached out to me. You told me, that you wanted me to tell this story, and I'm honored to. And it's incredible, though, that you've gone through all these things, and instead of staying quiet, you became a soldier, you became a warrior, and now you're willing to tell the truth no matter what happens. Like you said, you don't even care what they have to say or what they have to do. You're willing to take it there because you know things that, could destroy them. And essentially, that's the best thing for you to have. That is for you to protect yourself. And I will not ask you any of that because that is what you have to protect yourself. That is your ammunition. So definitely hold on to that. And is there anything else? Go ahead,
because if I reveal all the information, then I'm not going to have leverage anymore.
Exactly.
So I reveal, as much as I can. And I think Drake is already being pushed out like Diddy has, like Drake, we're watching Drake fall, like with the Kendrick Lamar, battle. It's like, we're watching that. And it's going to be a tough fall for Drake to deal with because he thrives to be on top. But another thing, like I will say, like Drake is also bisexual.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's not alleged.
Yeah, no, I believe that 100%. I saw him one time.
I know that.
He got an award and he picked up his leg and twirled. And I know myself that straight men don't do that. So when he definitely did that, I kind of figured that he was already playing both sides.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap up? I have about 10 minutes left before I have to get out of here and go get my son.
Well, yeah. I'll say this real quick as we wrap up. So when one of the projects you're talking about, the masculinity of rap mixed with the homosexuality, the conflict, and how
femininity.
Yeah. And how like the new school rappers, they don't really care. It's like, okay, if you're gay, whatever. Like if you've been in New York, everybody's so openly gay that I almost feel like the outcast for being straight, like with my girl, like it's nuts, But anyways, when I did a Notorious B.I.G. project, which was Diddy's artist, and you can Google it, right? It's out there. We went viral in 2021. We're in Variety and Rolling Stone and all the big publications. And I did some interviews with Biggie's son, and they were wanting to promote, like, because it's dance music and house music, to promote to the LGBT community. And like people were saying that, Biggie was gay. Don't know that to be the truth, but his son was bisexual and it's out there about, CJ Wallace and everything else. But when I was doing the Notorious Big project, signed with them, signed with the estate, all this is out in public knowledge, that when Diddy got involved, it got weird and everybody started shutting us down because there was from one of the people working with the estate wanted to come out with the LGBT, community about how it's in house music and techno music, it's rampant. It's like a lot of it, is gay. Like when you go to like the raves and the parties, a lot of it is, gay. And we were shut down basically because we were promoting, not we as they, Biggie's son and his partner at the time named Willie Mack, who's openly gay, because there was an LGBT side in it. I started getting random text messages like, quit promoting like the gay stuff, quit, blah, 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 blah. It got really, 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 really aggressive. And then I dealt with Diddy, and I talked about this in the real life interview. And he was telling us, we should do ketamine. And, it was really strange that he was saying that openly, and how ketamine is in house and techno music. And we got to be one with the music. And he can tell that he was dissing the song that we did because he could tell that I wasn't doing ketamine because he didn't feel it in the music, right? You got to have those vibrations. And he was right. At that time, I hadn't done ketamine, And so like, and then afterwards I did try ketamine, just being honest. So that was the way that project died, and I invested so much money. The way that project died, and with the Notorious Big Estate, and what I dealt with them, with the Notorious Big Estate, was so foul, and it was so corrupt. And because the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, especially when it's the Big Apple in New York, and Diddy and his people are still handling the Notorious Big Estate. Or they were up until 2023 when he surrendered the publishing, which was very strange. But what I dealt with the Notorious Big Estate, even though Biggie is dead, is the most foulest and most corrupt thing I've ever been with. and Diddy was still involved in the time. So that's all I really have to say about that. You know, we can talk about that more later. But that was one of the projects that really set me down into real depression, where I was like, started to do ketamine and I turned to drugs and everything else. And this is what I tell you, so I'm not hypocritical, is like, I've done a lot of things in my past, and I've promoted drug use. And this thing with God, I've always known it was there. I've always ran away from it. I've always rebelled from it. But what I've been through, especially over the last, 3 months for me to come out and speak about it, is I've watched God change and everything in my life. Because what's been taken from me is my youngest daughter, my family. We've been at odds. And that's from all the industry stuff that I've been involved in. So as far as like losing everything, yeah, I'm good financially. Yeah, I'm good, in my life. But they've already taken so much away from me that I don't even care at this point, right? So I'm just out here fighting, and I'm willing to do, whatever it takes to hopefully get people justice. And that's where I'm at right now.
And we're definitely going to have to do a part 2 to this interview. We're going to have to dive deeper into, because I wanted to focus, like we did at the beginning, focus more on the situation that you went through, how Drake could possibly be involved, and we covered all that. And since I'm running out of time, we can't get into this.
For sure.
But maybe we can definitely do a part 2 to this.
I would love to.
Also, just real quick before we wrap up, the fact that you said that about Biggie, I recently saw that he had a transgender in his video, one of his early videos. It was a girl they show her in the video dancing with Biggie and talking with Biggie, and then she goes to the bathroom, and she goes to the men's bathroom and pees in a urinal. So essentially indicating that she had a man's part, And this was something that, even, if I'm not mistaken, it was someone that brought it up, but I don't remember the name, someone that's in the industry that brought it up, and basically implying that Biggie and Diddy were intimate or had done things together. So I
also heard that. And that's what I'm saying. It got weird. Like once the gay factor came in, once like Diddy found out that we were promoting this as like an LGBT thing, which was coming from Biggie's son and Biggie's partner, because they're like we talked about, they don't think anything is wrong with it. No. Right. They don't. And it's cool. Like whatever, I don't even want to go into there. Like, I don't even want to say it's wrong or right or whatnot. But as soon as that factor came in and they started speaking out about it, I think in like Variety and Billboard, when CJ did interviews, it got shut down because it's like, no, we're not going to have anything gay tied to the Notorious Big. But listen, he was notorious gay. I mean, he was.
But it goes back to what I said earlier. In those generations, they're trying to normalize it now. And Diddy, of course, Diddy is down with the program. Diddy's been down, if the rumors are true, since Clive Davis in the 90s. But they don't want that associated with an artist like Biggie, because the people that listen to Biggie still have values from the 90s and the 2000s, where corruption was there. They were already pushing drugs and violence, but there were still some things that were off limits.
Correct.
We have gone to a point now, we're in society where there is no limits. They're removing all the limits. They're removing everything that we thought was bad. They desensitized us through manipulation, through programming, through the music, through the movies. And they push it every so often, every couple months, more and more. But I have to wrap up here.
Do your thing. Do your thing. Take care of your kid. Thank you so much. God bless. I would love to talk to you again. I love what you're doing.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to interview you. And thank you for being honest. And thank you for answering my questions.
Yes, sir.
I really appreciate you, and God bless you, and may God continue to protect you on this battle. And hopefully we can talk again. Tell them where they can follow you at.
Just follow God.
Okay, perfect. No problem. As you heard for yourself, Jonathan put it all on the line, exposing many artists and confirming the Freemasons run the music industry. He also tells us about the secret lives of many people in the industry. He put it all out there, and I'm honestly praying for his safety. But like he said, he is not afraid, as he is with God and has a lot on the industry that he is ready to put out there. If you guys want me to do a part 2 to this interview with Jonathan, comment part 2 below. I want to thank Jonathan for giving me the opportunity to tell his story. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Shout out to Jonathan, man. Hey, come on. Hey, let's go. Let's go. This is how the youngins do it. Let's go. Let's go. Man, I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. I don't care hey, they could be right and I could be wrong. And we are all people, and they try and put all this stuff together, man, and say, look, that's a girl, that's a boy. What difference does it make? We all can just get in the bed and do bullshit. Nah, no. And I could be 110% wrong. But I'm telling you what, it's just like, for example, I don't like coconut. It's nasty. Coconut is good for you. It's good for you. It ain't good for me. Some people some people don't eat pork because the Bible says so. Pork good as I don't know what. Sometimes it's hard to stay away from it. But if you stand on your ground, some people don't like, I don't know, wearing pink. You know, real men don't wear pink. Well, hey, I had a pink shirt before, whatever. I'm a real man. I mean, whatever happens, I'm just telling you what I like and what I don't like. I don't give a sugar. I'm not going to wear my hair with no other color but with the color of the hair. And then it started turning gray. I was still down with that. That's what's happening. Okay, Lord, that's what we're going to do. Then it started falling out, so I just said I'll just cut it all off. But as far as this bisexual stuff and everything, oh my God, that's some throw up stuff, man. I'm sorry. First of all, I'm loyal. And I got a sugar wooger. So you ain't got sugar on me, period. I don't cheat. I don't want to cheat. And I ain't going to cheat. Because it's going to affect the first thing, my first rule. Do unto others as you would want them to do unto you. Right? My first rule is I don't need, God gave you 10 commandments because apparently some of y'all need it. I got one rule. Treat everybody how you want to be treated. Bingo. I just saved all wars, all gunshots, everything. Everybody focus on that one thing. I don't want nobody to shoot me, so I ain't shooting nobody. I don't want nobody to break in my house, so I ain't breaking in nobody else's house. I would love for somebody to help me, so I help other people. Do unto others as you would want them to do unto you. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Y'all tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out.